Jude and Chris. It's really nice to have you both here on this podcast. I've been looking forward to this because, of course, you are a married couple as well as being in business together. We've got Ready Steady websites here in the room too. And it's not all the time that I manage to get both people here with me. So thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
That's
Um,
okay.
Okay, thank you for having us.
yeah. I mean, we already mentioned kind of before we start to record that you guys are pretty much pros when it comes to recording podcasts, speaking about being a couple as well as in business. So, as I say, it's great. It's great to
Now
have
you
you.
said that, we're bound to do something ridiculous and mess up.
Yeah, we've done a lot of podcasts. We can tell you that. Whether we're good or not, I'm not sure.
Okay, sure. No, I'm so here for it. Because I mean, let's get into it. Being a couple and also being in business. I mean, how is this for you? Where do you guys feel would be important to start?
I think it really works for us, and we've been in business for 16 years now. But at the start, it was harder, wasn't it? Like, I think it took us a little while to
Mm,
find our roles, like how we were going to work well together.
mm,
Um,
mm,
Especially as we started the business just in a bedroom in our house at the time.
mm,
And so, yeah, it was a little bit difficult to
mm,
separate life from business and, yeah, just to get it all to click. But when
mm.
we had been in business a few months, we decided we needed to get an office. And
Okay.
we got an office in the centre of town. We had another guy who we knew who did similar work to us, and we'd done some collaborations with him. He
Mm,
came and joined us in the office as well. And
mm.
then that's when it did all click into place
Yeah,
because we were then going to work. We had to be
yeah.
professional because someone else was there. And
Mm,
then since then, it's been
mm,
pretty smooth sailing, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think we just needed to find our feet because where we were before, I used to manage a team, Jude used to manage a team. So we both came into a joint business together, both as managers. So we were used to basically bossing people around.
yeah.
And then we realized quite quickly that wasn't going to work bossing each other around because obviously
Okay.
we love each other
Okay.
and we're trying to work together. So it wasn't really working in that way. But like you said, as soon as we got an office, and we
Yeah.
had another guy working in there, it
Mm,
forced us to be professional. And from that point onwards,
right.
something just changed, didn't it?
Yeah.
It
I'd
did.
like to say I don't think I bossed people around in my
Well, I
previous
think you do,
life.
don't you? You're used to
But
taking
yeah,
control, I think.
you do.
It's
You say, right, this is what needs to be done, and then you expect
Mm,
someone to just get on and do it because that's what we
yeah,
always had, whereas
totally.
we weren't like that with each other.
Okay. Kind of not before almost professionalizing Ready Steady websites, office, was it a member of staff? Sorry, or just another person in the office?
Yeah, so he had his own sort of freelancing business
Mm,
and but we had done some work together. Chris
mm,
knew him, like Chris had got to know him through Twitter. That was how long ago this was,
yeah,
that's how you met other people
yeah.
online. And then you'd done some like some
joint
running
projects.
joint
Yeah.
projects together. They'd run some networking
Mm,
together. And so,
mm,
yeah, we just thought it would be great to have him there. It makes it easier for joint projects. He
yeah,
wanted to get out of working in his house as well. From a financial perspective, it was great to share the rent of the office with someone else.
yeah.
And yeah, it did just make everything click into place.
Okay, yeah, got you. I wonder if some people listening that may be back in those early stages that you where you were 16 years ago that might go, they might think, God, is it that easy? Is it just an office? Is it fair to say, yeah, it was an office and that is exactly what clicked for you both?
I think it was that. I think it was also we got quite clear then on our roles because
Mm,
like Chris is the designer and the developer. That wasn't going to change at any point. Like no one
mm,
wants me to actually be doing
okay.
the design work for them. I'm good at looking at the structure of a website, thinking about the content, what's going to make people click. But I'm
Mm,
never going to make it look pretty.
okay.
So that was very clear that that was
Mm,
Chris's role. And
mm,
then when it came to sort of the admin tasks, the finance and
mm,
things like that, it became very clear one of us needed to take control of that as well.
yeah.
So I took control of basically the
Yeah.
running of the business function, doing the admin and the finance.
Yeah.
I also took a lead on going out and doing the networking,
Mm,
and doing any marketing and things like
mm,
that.
mm,
And so once we sort of got to
Mm,
that point. And obviously,
mm,
so I'm networking. I might have the first initial contact with the client. I might have a call with them just to get to know them
mm,
a little bit better, feel to get a feel if they're the right person for us. But then
mm.
there's a clear handover point then to
Right,
Chris when it's sort of
Chris.
properly then talking about the project and
Mm,
quoting and that kind of thing. And
yeah.
I think once we got that structure there and knew what
Mm,
each other was focusing on,
mm,
then it worked. And I think, if
mm,
it was like, well, that is my responsibility, so I'm going to have to need to do that, there's no
mm,
expectation the other person's going to jump
yeah.
in and help with that then.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that helped as well, rather than
Mm.
just the
Yeah.
office.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. It's something that I often work on with my clients of kind of how can we divvy it up. I suppose exactly that you guys kind of naturally fell into it of natural kind of skills, what you're good at, maybe what you might not be good at. And fair to say it helps with responsibility, but then also kind of blame. Like if things were not going well, there wasn't enough clients, we all just turned to Jude.
Exactly. Didn't go and do enough talking to people
Okay.
that month, which tends not to be a problem with me. I do a lot of talking. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah. So your business has been going for 16 years. Like how has it been ever since? Because you had that first point where you established the business. How has the interim been?
It's all right. I think it's gone smoothly, but in the world that we work in the web
Mm,
design world, with tech
mm,
very much involved,
mm,
obviously there are changes going on that impact the way we work.
yeah.
So we have both had to have sort of a mindset of just going with the flow when it comes to change.
Mm,
And I
mm,
think it helps that we are on the same page from that point of view. We're willing to try new things.
mm,
He's
mm.
willing to try them more quickly than me, I think.
Okay.
He loves embracing the new
Mm,
tech that's coming out and like
mm,
trying different things.
mm,
Whereas I'm a little bit more like, oh, but we've just got established doing this, and
mm,
I'd just like it to be the same for a little bit
mm.
longer.
Sure.
But I think I've learned to just roll
Mm,
with it more,
mm,
wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think, like you said, particularly in the web world, there's always change. I know obviously AI is a massive sort of disruptor
mm,
now, but all the
mm,
way through those 16 years, we've seen change and we've had to adapt to
yeah.
it. So when we first started up the business, it was
Mm,
called Second Floor Designs Limited, and that is still the overarching company.
mm,
And then we were just doing bespoke custom build sites, like hand coding and literally typing them out type sites. And
mm,
then we moved into using page builders, where it's more drag and drop. And then we were
mm.
building different themes and things.
Yeah.
And then we realized the sort of need to come up with an idea like
Mm,
Ready Steady websites, where it was kind of packaged, sort of website in a box type thing for
mm.
people. And
Right.
then more recently, we've had to add in sort of CRM type
Mm,
functionality for people and email marketing.
yeah.
So as it's gone on, we've realized quite quickly when we're seeing a bit of a
Mm,
shift that we need to look at it
yeah.
seriously and adapt to it, because otherwise
Yeah.
it's really easy to just get left behind really quickly in this kind of industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. It sort of sounds as though it's one of the ways in which you've been successful over 16 years is being able to bounce and move, and it's the reasons why it's been a long-term business. I guess it could have so been a different story though, because as you say, like you could have been really resistant to the change, or one person could have wanted to change and the other person couldn't, and there could have been loads of friction. When you set up your business, were you aware of like all the challenges and what could have gone wrong? Did it occur? Did you think about that or
So
Not
no?
really. No. And
I
I think
think there was one main reason for starting up our own business, and that was because we had a child on the way. So Jude got pregnant, we had a child on the way. I was working for an agency and I was getting in some mornings I was getting at 5 in the morning, and then
Mm,
some evenings I was leaving at midnight. And it was a lot
wow.
of high profile clients who were very demanding.
Mm,
And I just thought, no, I want to make sure I'm there for my
mm,
children, well, my child and children in the end.
mm,
I want to make sure I'm there for my new baby and there to support Jude.
mm,
So that's when we made that decision. And initially it was like, oh, I'll just do some freelance. stuff. I'd help out on the side, end up doing a bit of work for the company that I used to work for as well. And then it quite quickly turned into like a boutique agency, and then it turned into sort of a bigger type thing, and then it turned into a website service. So I think
Mm.
that the catalyst was life change basically that made that decision, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think
Sure.
at the start when it was just the bespoke design and builds and the branding, it was it wasn't easy as a
Mm.
business, you know, with
Mm.
those kind of project-based
Okay.
services. There
Yeah.
are peaks and troughs. You know,
Yeah.
you charge a bit at the start, you probably charge a bit at the end if there's a long project, there's no money coming in the middle.
Mm.
And, you
Yeah.
know, obviously you hope to, you've got more than one client at a time, but still you're
Mm.
seeing this in your accounts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was stressful. And I think we had 1 month where our accounts were really not looking
Mm.
great.
Mm.
Um, and I think we could so easily at that point have
Mm.
decided we can't have both of us in the business anymore. This isn't working.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we didn't. Unfortunately, that's when our
Mm.
theme sales that we were doing alongside our project work kicked in
Mm.
and that just
Mm.
took off,
Mm-hmm.
which was good timing,
Mm.
you could say. But equally, I think we had
Yeah.
foreseen this could become an issue and realized we needed to put something else in alongside.
Mm.
Um, and if I think if we had at that point gone, well, okay, I need to go back and get a job, and Chris can keep doing it in a freelance
Mm.
capacity, like you said,
Mm.
I
Mm.
think in the long run we'd have massively regretted that because
Okay.
now with how the business has taken off, it needs at
Mm.
least two people in the
Okay.
business. Like there's
Yeah.
absolutely no way with the volume of work that one person could be doing the work,
Mm.
but still
Okay.
doing all the networking and
Yeah.
everything you have to do to make sure more work's
Yeah.
coming in after that work. And
Yeah.
so yeah, there's that. Yeah, I mean, it sounds now. I know we quite often will sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, well we have 200 people on ready steady websites with recurring income, and we have project work and da da da," and
Mm.
people go, "Oh well, that was so easy for them."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's
Yeah.
definitely been a couple of times over the 16 years that it really hasn't been as easy, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
it was worth persevering with, and yeah,
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
to this point.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah.
with you. I'm with you. I feel like it would be so not fair on anybody to have looked back and gone, that was easy because you guys you've built it, that you've earned a really solid foundation now. Um, am I right in understanding that even though, of course, today there could have been regrets, say if one of you had stepped away from the business, but looking back, it was always an option to kind of respond to the business and the family of what you needed? Is that, am I right there?
Well, yeah, and I think that's the beauty of like, yeah, we've always been flexible, haven't we? And that like it was a yeah, it
Mm.
was we could have done it that one of us went back to work. Every so often we
Okay.
go, I mean, now like we've got ready steady
Mm.
websites, we sort of I did say this on a different interview the other day that like it's very unlikely that all 200 and whatever
Mm.
we're on exactly
Yeah.
now, people are going to leave all
Yeah.
on the same day and like
Okay.
leave us
Touch
with
wood.
nothing.
Yeah.
But Chris even says now, even though we're in a very like nice position, he goes,
Mm.
"Well, you know, I could always go and get some work on Upwork or
Mm.
people per hour." You know,
Uh-huh.
there's always those
Yeah.
options. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're always quite responsive to a situation. But
Okay.
yeah, and like Chris said, like he is on top of the tech, he's on top of AI and changes, and you know, making sure
Mm.
that we're utilizing that. We're very ethical, I think, in the way we do it. We're
Mm.
very much not about using
Mm.
it where we would pay another person, but it is
Mm.
really good for speeding up what we do and that
Mm.
kind of thing. So
Mm.
make ourselves as efficient as possible to keep the business going as well as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sort of sounds like lean and a little bit nimble. Like if it needed to move again, it would, or
Yeah.
another stream of income could be uh, like
Yeah,
this.
you're always saying, aren't you, that there's probably something else we haven't thought of yet,
Yeah.
and that might be the really big one for us. Because
Okay.
yeah, we're quite entrepreneurial in our approach to our business, I think, really.
Yeah, we've had a couple of moments in that 16 years where we've come up with a couple of things and they've almost gone bananas.
Mm. Okay.
So there's always that potential there to do something that is maybe just
Yeah.
as simple, and you do
Yeah.
it so well that someone picks it up and they want to buy it,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you're off to the races. So I think it's interesting, especially in the tech world, because people will pay loads of money for very simple things sometimes. So it's been an interesting ride so far. And I always think there's maybe a cusp of we're on the cusp of an idea of something big happening to us. There's always that kind of excitement level, I think.
Yeah, because when the whole cookie cutter thing came in with everyone having to have their like cookie bar and everything, Chris created one of the first ones of those, and it almost got picked up by a massive hosting company who was gonna pay us for it basically to be included on every single website they hosted. And then the EU did an about turn and didn't make it quite so much of a requirement for everybody to have it, and we were like, damn
Bummer.
it.
Yeah,
So
bummer.
yes, one day that one
Yeah.
thing will
Okay.
stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you hate those cookie pop-ups, most of them are based on my initial design that I did. So I'm
So
sorry about that. So
expensive
Yeah, okay.
ones.
Yeah. I mean, I never knew that, Chris. That yeah, I mean, I'm going to give you full credit for that.
I
I'm
was
going to tell
one of the
everybody.
first. One of the first to do it, and I came up with a little brand for it called Cookie Cutter. So it kind of
Yeah.
it sort of went off quite well with people. But that's the
Mm,
kind of thing that we love about this industry is you can because we were really worried about our clients getting sued, which is why I built it anyway. I was never
mm,
thinking about what money we could make from it. I was just thinking about making
mm.
sure our clients were safe.
Okay.
And I think that's always a good place to start from when you're doing products because it's for the
Sure.
need rather than for the money.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. It sort of sounds a bit like a business philosophy or sort of an ethos. I think you worded it, Jude, as sort of wanting to be ethical and sort of being client centered and focused first, and then trusting that the money will come as a result of that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that's how Red City websites came about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we had so many people coming to us who didn't need a bespoke website, didn't really have the budget for a
Mm,
bespoke website, but wanted to work with people that they knew that they could easily work with, that would be there as consistent
mm,
support rather than going and using the sort of the Wix and the Squarespaces and the other things that you could use off the shelf, where they knew
sure.
if they had a support question, they weren't going to get the same person all the time.
Right.
And so, yeah, so we responded to need for ready, steady websites, as
Mm,
well as it being sort of a combination of a few of the other things we'd done in the
mm,
past with the themes and some courses and things like that.
mm,
And so, yes, it definitely works, I think, to go, well,
mm.
what are people asking for? Well, let's create that for
Yeah.
them. And then if they're asking for it, other people are
Okay.
bound to see the worth in it and the
Mm,
need in it as well. And
mm,
yeah, so it sort of,
yeah.
it definitely, yeah, has worked.
From a business perspective, it was kind of stupid because I said to Jude, well, people are paying too much for these simple websites. So that's kind of where it came from. We could make it
Mm,
easier for us and easier for them, and we could bring the price down and then release it to more
mm,
people. So it's
mm,
kind of from a business perspective, it was maybe not the best of ideas to sort of
mm.
chop our
Yeah.
prices off. But
Undercut
I
ourselves.
think it just made sense. And then obviously it then became
Yeah.
a subscription model and it's we're still running it 7 years later. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's doing well.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I guess it does well because you judged it wisely as two business people to go, yeah, this is going to be a good idea. Let's back ourselves and let's go. Um, I noticed there, Chris, you said like this makes sense. Let's do this. And I think that the three of us, we nod along. We nod because clearly the three of us in this room get it and we agree and are aligned with those kind of values and ways forwards. Even though I think it's so not obvious in reality for some people that there'll be a lot of clashing heads with the ways to take things. Um, does that make sense as I say that so far? Is yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think there are definitely people out there that yes,
yeah,
they don't do that
wouldn't.
method of business. And
Yeah.
yeah, obviously we
Mm,
from the point of view of working together and how we
mm,
work, there's so many people, either when we say we're a husband and wife team, they'll be like, oh, like, how do you find that? Or some people will go, absolutely no way I could do that and never
yeah,
going to work with my partner.
yeah,
Like that would
yeah,
be the end of the marriage.
yeah. Okay, sure.
So
Yes.
yeah, so I think there are, yeah, people definitely have different, yeah, approaches. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So, to what extent would it be fair to say that for you both, your marriage is aligned with each other in terms of values and what you agree on, and because of this almost, tell me if I'm stretching, the business works because you work as a couple. Is that what are your thoughts?
I think with any relationship, like the person Jude married and the person I married, they're not the same people that are sitting here today. So I
Okay.
think with any kind of life, family, business, you
Mm,
have to grow with it and learn as you go.
mm,
And I
mm,
think in terms of business ethics, they come from morals, I think probably from your family values. And Jude and I have got similar family values that have come from our parents and their parents and their parents.
mm,
So I think that has distilled itself down into the way that we run the business. So I think
mm,
we run a very honest and ethical and morally sound business. And I think
mm.
that's why we've had longevity with it.
Yeah.
And that's why people love coming back to us and using a small company for their website because they kind of
Mm,
buy into all of that.
mm,
Yeah, and I think as well, like I think, like Chris said, we're not the same people. It'd be weird if we were, because we've been married for we'll be 21 years next month.
wow.
I was literally just 23 when we got married, and so if I hadn't changed
Sure. Yeah.
by the time I was into my 40s, I
Yeah.
think it would, yeah, it would be strange. But I think
Mm,
I don't know. I think we've been in business together longer than we haven't, which is a kind of a weird thing to think
mm,
about now.
yeah.
And I think it is all part of our marriage now,
Yeah.
isn't it? And it is all kind of, I did joke the other day, and this is a joke, I hope. I said, when we're retired and we don't have the children at home anymore, what on earth are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
So it does feel
Okay.
like our life is our business
Mm,
and our children because we work
okay.
during the day. Then we
Mm,
inevitably have to take them
mm,
places, support them in doing
mm.
things, whatever. And then we
Yeah.
have about an hour, just the two of us, in
Okay.
a non-business capacity, and then we go
Mm,
to bed, and then it
okay.
starts again. And
Yeah.
so yes, it's all very much intertwined now. Maybe
Mm,
we will never stop working, and that will solve that
okay.
problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's funny. I think one of the last things I said to Jude right before we went to sleep last night was I'd added a bit of code into a plugin that was working really well. And Jude
Uh-huh.
was just like, okay, night then.
Okay. Bye.
But that's it. Like we just, it is like you said, always talking about work, and it's
Mm,
just the conversation goes from work to life, from work to
yeah.
life, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's kind of yeah,
Yeah.
it's entwined. So I don't know what we're gonna do when we retire.
Fortunately, we do. As long as we stay fit and healthy, we do both very much enjoy walking, exercising. So,
Mm.
I mean, we'll be fine.
Sure. 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 I'm with you. I think my thoughts is that there's always going to be another business.
Yeah,
We'll see. You'll let's all talk again in 20 years or so.
yeah,
But I really hear you that the business and life or family we could call it is super intertwined. Um, I have certainly got clients that work like that, and because it works for everybody, it works. And I feel like it would be so uncool for somebody to come along and be like, no, that's not appropriate. There must be like, I don't know, eight and eight or whatever the rule is.
yeah.
Because it works for you both.
Yeah, and I think quite a lot of people, yeah, do ask, like, how do you separate your business time and your life and this, that, and the other? And we do have a bit of time where we'll chill out watching telly. But I think
Mm,
both of us in our heads are probably still going, oh, we could
mm,
do this and oh, we could.
yeah,
It's very
yeah,
hard to switch off.
yeah,
But yeah, like you said, why
mm,
should we
yeah,
completely separate and
mm,
not talk about the business in
mm,
non-business hours or
yeah,
whatever? And
yeah.
also, I don't see that there really are non-business hours. Like this
Okay.
morning, I've
Mm,
spent the morning, well, we
mm,
went for a walk together, then I've done a gym workout, and now I'm here
mm,
chatting to you. I
mm,
did look at about 3 emails before we start this conversation, but
mm,
that's business hours, really,
yeah,
if we're looking at the 9 to 5. So,
yeah,
but I took that time for myself. So then it's
yeah,
fine if we want to have a conversation at 10 o'clock at night
yeah,
about the code that Chris added to a
yeah.
plugin, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like that's the point of running a business. You run it like you
Uh,
want to, don't you? You don't have to
yeah.
abide by anyone else's rules,
Yeah.
really.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I wonder if business owners get this. Like, you get it because you are a business owner. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody is listening who are not business owners, but you think, yeah, to me that makes perfect sense too. Like,
Yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
I sometimes have this kind of like, I try and justify it. Like I've just done there, like, well, I didn't work this morning, but it's okay because we'll have business
Mm.
conversations this evening.
Okay.
Because I sometimes still think like, well, what
Yeah.
do my friends who do have to
Mm.
go and be at the office by 8:30 and
Yeah.
they can't leave till 5 or whatever?
Yeah.
What do they think of us? Are they thinking, well, they've got a right DOS life because she
Mm.
was working out like at 10
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning and didn't like sit down at her computer till 11:15.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, and but
Yeah.
that doesn't matter what everyone else thinks of
Okay.
us. But I do, but
Sure.
in my head, I still kind of think, oh, look,
Yeah.
looks like I don't do any work.
Yeah. No. Fair. There is definitely a conversation to be had in that, because I guess it's still today a little bit of an unconventional way of working or living. Is this one of the perks about being married to a fellow business owner who's not only a fellow business owner but in the exact same business, that you guys get each other and you know exactly what's on each other's plate? What's what's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's helpful. I think if, as an outsider looking in, like say Jude had a full-time job still with the county council, and then I'm stressing out about something, and Jude just has
Mm,
absolutely no concept of what's involved in what's stressing
mm,
me out. It
yeah.
makes it really difficult for Jude to kind of come in and be like, "Well, how can I
Mm,
help?"
mm,
Whereas when you're running a business together, you've kind of got we
mm,
know each other's part of the business, and we understand and we're sympathetic to that.
mm.
Which I guess in some ways could be problematic if we let sort of timelines slide and things, because
Okay.
we can't really have a go at
Mm,
each other because we're kind of married and stuff.
yeah.
So I think it's interesting, and Jude feels a lot more kind of, I'm not sure if guilt is the right word, but she feels there's more optics on what we do in terms of like, oh, we're just going to go
Yeah.
shopping, or don't care
Mm,
what other people think about what our lives are.
yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
And we work really hard still. Like, so sometimes it sounds silly really, because sometimes I'm up at 6 in the morning working, and
Yeah.
sometimes I don't finish until like 9 p.m. at night. So I'm still
Mm,
doing long hours like I did before, but I'm
yeah.
fitting it around the kids now anyway. So I think there's a
Mm,
lot of freedom in what we
Yeah.
do, but sometimes there's a lot of pressure on us to deliver
mm,
as well. So but it's flexible.
mm,
Like sometimes there's sort of different walks of life, aren't there, really,
Yeah.
in different
mm,
times.
I think we do know people who run
mm,
businesses and their
mm.
partners are full-time employed
Yeah.
and their partners don't get it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that must be in some ways
Yeah.
more of a strain on a relationship than actually
Sure.
working together. Like we've
Yeah.
certainly got people that we have, like, maybe that we're working with on a project or a client or something like that, and we haven't
Mm,
been able to get in touch with them. And
mm,
then they'll come back to us and they'll go, oh, sorry, like my husband
mm.
made me turn the phone off the day because he
Oh,
said I was doing too much and like he
mm,
booked the day off or whatever. And like,
mm.
and there's no concept of actually, can I just keep my phone
Yeah.
on? Because for the sake of the business, I
Yeah.
do need to be able to respond to this or,
Yeah.
and yeah, so,
Yeah.
and we've definitely like had many
Mm,
conversations with people like in networking
mm.
and things like that who are like, and
Okay.
my wife was having a go at me the other day because I
Mm,
was trying to get this thing finished at this time. And yeah,
mm.
but I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it's hard. I think when you have got a small business and
Mm.
sometimes, responding, well, it may not even be the case, but feeling like you can respond quickly to something at that moment
Yeah.
might be the like chance of winning a job and not.
Yes.
As other business owners, we all get it. Like, yeah, jump on,
Yeah.
do it, respond. But
Yeah.
yeah, someone else who works the 9 to 5s going, well, why do you
Mm.
feel like you've got to respond to that at 6:30? Like it's the end of business hours. And
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not, obviously we've got savings and things, but when you're running a business, particularly together with your partner, there's no safety net as
Yeah.
such. Like if I did
Mm.
a rubbish job today
Yeah.
as an employee, I
Yeah.
could still get paid at the end of the month. But if I do a rubbish
Mm.
job and I deliver something to a client,
Yeah.
that's the client going away and us not getting the job again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you said, that responsiveness that you can have to things,
Mm.
which is easier when you run a small business, I think.
Yeah.
At least you get all of that kudos back as well. So
Mm.
I think yeah, it's a tricky situation. I don't think I'd want to be employed again. I
Yeah.
don't. That's how much I love doing my own thing.
I don't think we could be employed again, Chris. I don't think anyone could control us now. But also that what you said there about the money and like being a business, like any family business, if all your eggs are in one basket financially, that adds more stress. But I sometimes wonder if it makes you have to be more successful in your business because you have to bring the money in. That is your literally the only income. And so I think it's a good motivator as well, really.
Yeah. I'm so with you. I mean, it completely resonates with me because of the type of work that I do and with my clients, but also for myself, speaking as a business owner with my own business. I remember one of the first business books I read ages ago. I wouldn't be able to tell you which book it was, but it was talking about, it might have been the E-Myth, yeah, classic book. It's talking about the different mentalities between being a business owner and being employed. And it said that being employed, that type of person will tend to spread eggs across different baskets because that is viewed as safe. But a business owner is going to put them all in one basket and they're going to really take care of that basket. And family businesses, as you say, Jude, it's this 10x because we've got an entire family to feed here of that one basket and potentially an entire legacy or reputation of a family. Yeah, I get that completely. Yeah. To what extent do you feel that Ready Steady Websites is almost a member of the family or a representation of the family? To what extent? Let me know if it resonates or not.
That's a really good question, actually, because I think we do use it like a little extra family member or like the family business because our kids are always talking about Ready Steady Websites and they understand what Ready Steady Websites is. And we've sponsored their football clubs and stuff. So the kind of names out there, and it is kind of an entity that is ingrained, really, isn't it? I don't know what our boys would think if we suddenly didn't have it anymore. That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah, I think, and like we made hoodies up for all four of us, and the boys, what the older one doesn't now. It's very not cool
I'm
at the
cool
age
now.
of 15 to be wearing your parents. But like the little one still wears his Ready Steady Websites hoodie. The older one has done some like work for us, just like school holidays, just real basic copying and pasting and stuff like that. But he did really good attention to detail and like so yeah, it really I mean, it has, yeah, it would be odd if we didn't have it because they very much, yeah, see it as, yeah, what we do and it's there. And like Chris said, yeah, it's all like they've both worn, yeah, football shirts with Ready Steady Websites on and training tops and stuff. So yeah, I think it would be really bizarre for them if it wasn't a thing. What I do feel though is being children of business owners like us, I wonder if they get an incredibly skewed view of what working is like. Like I've said, they know that I'll drop them off at school, go to the gym,
Yeah.
come home, start working at some point. And the fact that like they probably won't come and work for us, certainly the little one won't, and it's not his type of thing. The older one is more into sort of design and tech and things. But the day that they go, what I have to be there at 9 and I can't leave till 5 and I've got to do a whole day of work.
Yeah.
I think that will be slightly odd for them.
Yeah.
Because they have never known anything else. Like we literally started the business while I was pregnant. They have not seen any other way of working, kind of role model to them from us.
Apart from our oldest, who's did a week of work experience work, but he did work in a video production type place. So it was they had an office and they had office hours, but it was still fluid and creative. So I think it's not like just working at McDonald's where you just have to churn out 100 burgers an hour, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was more creative than that.
And also in that work experience he did, it was then quite a lot of the stuff in the week that he was doing it. They were recording a lot of podcasts and vodcasts and things of small business owners coming in and talking about their business. So again, he just so many of them I knew as well. I was going, oh, did you meet busy today. Oh, she's lovely, isn't she? But yeah, so he was then getting even more of this sense of, oh yeah, there's loads of
Yeah.
people out there like my mum and dad who run their business. And like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but he did love that work experience and he
Okay.
did do the full days, but he did say he was very
Mm.
tired at the end
Okay.
of them. It was
Yeah.
definitely a kind of a reality check of,
Mm.
yeah, this is what working's like.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yes, it'll be,
Yeah.
I do feel like you did say at the start, like obviously it's not the norm, but I do feel there
Mm.
are more small businesses out there now. And it's not just
Yeah.
because it's the world we operate in, but we
Yeah.
look at like the parents on the school run, and so
Mm.
many of the parents are small
Mm.
business owners. And yeah,
Mm.
it's so it is more of a way that people are going. So it will
Yeah.
be interesting to see if they do follow in our footsteps or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. I'm with you. I wonder too, and my mind does go in a very similar place to yours, Jude. That I think even statistically, we have the evidence that it is the way that things are going. And it's just a different meaning of what does it mean to work and what does it look like. Because I am curious about what you both saw or how you both saw your parents work. Because in my family, I had one parent who worked three part-time jobs, 12 hours a day. And to me, that was what work looked like. And I remember going, never doing that. And I was a business owner by 19, and it's been 10 years now. Even though sometimes I still, a bit similar to yourself, Jude, even though I never get to the gym in the morning, I will go, am I working? Because it was not, it's a real contrast to what I saw work look like when I was young. Um, what did work look like to you both when you were young?
So we had a very similar kind of
Okay.
experience, really. Both of our
Mm,
dads were in banking. They both were quite high level managers. My dad was
mm,
an area manager for the
mm,
Southeast in one of the
mm,
banks. Chris's dad was a manager in London. They both got made redundant when I was 14. When I met my dad got made redundant. I think we were a little bit older. I think they got made
mm.
redundant around the same time. There was a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
thing in banking around the same time of sort of that level of management.
Okay.
And my mum had not worked the entire
Mm,
time that I was at primary
mm,
school. And
mm,
then when I started secondary school,
mm,
she started doing just some kind of
mm,
self-employed work as an accountant. She was an accountant.
mm,
Um, and so but she went into people's accountancy offices in the
mm,
town near us. So she did go and work. She
mm.
did have an office at home, so she would do little bits and bobs at home. So I did
Okay.
see this slightly more
Okay.
flexible way of working with her. And
Yeah.
sometimes, like, I would go and, if I
Mm,
was in town, go and pop into whoever's office she was in that day and go and say hi
mm,
to all of them. So I saw like a small business aspect there.
mm,
But from my dad's perspective, and after a while, after being made
mm,
redundant, he then got a job as a project manager for a
mm,
telecoms company, completely different, but he was still in
mm,
management. And then
mm.
that was still go to the office
Yeah.
every day, work there
Hard
until
work.
5, come home. So
Mm,
yeah, so I very much, most of my experience was of my
mm.
dad working for a
Yeah.
big organization of some
Mm,
kind, and
mm,
yeah, just going and to
mm,
work and coming back again sort of sometime after six
mm.
o'clock and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like you said, mine's similar. So my dad obviously worked in London, so he had to be out the door at like 5 in the morning to get the train, and he didn't get back until
Yeah.
about 8 p.m. some nights. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that I feel like I didn't want to have that life
Mm,
when we got pregnant. My
mm,
mum worked in banking. That's how she met my dad. And then when
mm,
she did, I think she was like a cleaner for a little while before
mm,
we were born. And then when me and my sister were born, she looked after us. I didn't have a job for until I was maybe 14, 13, 14,
mm,
where she got a job in a local card shop. And again, all of that was very much kind of like she had a set hours and everything. So I think we
mm,
saw a lot of that, but also we saw the flip side of like my dad was employed for 27 years with the bank, and then
mm.
they basically
Oh,
just stuck two fingers
redundant.
up to him at the end and just ditched him. And
Yeah.
I thought, well, I learned at that point, what's the point in having a long-term job if then all of a sudden they can just cut the rug from
Yeah.
under you and you're just left literally panicking. You can't pay your
Yeah.
bills. Like you obviously get redundancy and stuff. And Jude's dad
Mm.
was out of work for a little bit longer than my dad. My dad was lucky enough to pick up a job again quite quickly. But I
Okay.
think Jude saw that on her side of it. They kind of like money going down, and that's a bit of a
Mm.
panic. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's something that we've never, well, once we got to the point where we we're like, but we never actually got to the point where we were properly panicking. And
Yeah, I think I got to, so my dad was out of work for nearly 2 years. And initially, when he got
Mm.
made redundant, it seemed like, yes, I could tell it was a rubbish thing and like he didn't have a
Mm.
job. But initially, my mum was like, well, that's the mortgage gone. We can pay off the mortgage. We're
Oh,
part of the payout. And like,
yeah.
so she was quite like, oh, excellent. That puts us in a nice position. And in her head,
Mm.
I think she was thinking, well, this man's been at a high level and all the experience he's got over the years, he'll find
Oh,
another job again, no problem, and happy days of
yeah.
getting the payout. But
Yeah.
then it was like nearly 2 years till he did find another job because,
It's a long
he
time
was
to wait.
older. I think, when I was 14, he must have been, yeah, he was sort of
Mm.
later 40s.
Mm.
And so by that point, you're not as, sorry, Chris, but by that point, you're not as employable because you're seen as older by that point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then I saw my mum taking on more accountancy work,
Mm.
which was unusual, and because she
Yeah.
would normally only really work the school hours. And,
Mm.
yeah, it did,
Mm.
I could sell, get a sense of worry, really,
Yeah.
that like,
Yeah.
going
You
to
pick it
happen if
up.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so again, like it was that
Mm.
kind of like, well, yeah, you can be in a job and then
Mm.
it
Yeah.
can go. So
Yeah.
and when I started work, I worked in education and
Mm.
children's services, so it was, government,
Mm.
local authority, and
Mm.
um and so again at that point, I think I thought,
Mm.
well, this is safe. I mean, even when people did an awful job, it took a long time through HR to get them out. It's like you could do nothing in the local
Mm.
authority and keep working.
Mm.
But then even then redundancies started hitting the local
Mm.
authorities, and yeah, you
Yeah.
do realize that in a job you are not safe at all.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they
Yeah.
didn't. I then wanted to be made redundant by the time we
Yeah.
decided to start our own
Mm.
business. I was like, yeah, I've done 10 years, that'd be quite a nice payout, but they
Okay.
didn't want to make me redundant. That was a bit
Mm.
annoying.
Okay. Sure. Did it too well. Like,
I know. Uh,
yeah. But I mean, strong messages, I guess, of what we pick up from our parents or what the messages we give to our children. And then also how business life, sure, is really risky and it takes a lot of guts. But yeah, the same applies to being employed. It's just like pick which one are we going to do? Both are going to be hard.
yeah. Yeah, I think
Like,
that's it. I think nowadays there is very little like guaranteed job security, isn't there? And actually,
yeah.
if you're making your own path and you can
Mm,
make your own choices, I feel like it's more secure, really.
yeah.
I think it is, but I think you need to be a certain personality to be able to run your company or to be an
Mm,
entrepreneur, because I've met
mm,
quite a lot of people over the years who are self-employed,
mm.
and I think they would have been much better if they'd have just been
Okay.
employed by someone else, because
Okay.
they don't have what it takes
Mm,
to make the business a success. They don't want to network.
mm.
They don't want to go on social media. They
Mm,
don't want to get on the phone and cold call people. These are all things
mm.
that we've done with our business to
Yeah.
actually try and build it. And
Yeah.
they just want to sit there and wait for the work to come to them. And that's just not
Mm,
what happens.
mm.
When you're
Yeah.
self-employed, you need to go out there and get it. You need to stay motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great message. I'm glad that you share that, Chris, of kind of the personality types that are really helpful to have to make it work. And I mean, just how brilliant to then meet somebody who's very similar to be able to just times it. It's not even times by two, is it? I don't think. It's like my maths is so bad. I tried to make a maths joke then and it totally fell backwards. You do it by
No, it's
three
like
rather than
squared. It's like
two.
squared
Yes,
Thank
rather
you.
than
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. You helped me out that one.
Yeah. That's about the level of maths that I can get to. So that's
You
like
do.
I'm topping
Perfect.
out there. So
Perfect. Well, maybe last question from me is what can we expect from Ready Steady websites moving up? It's very common that family businesses think long term. So I wonder if you are in that camp of the stereotype, gotta say, of what's coming up. You already mentioned your children, and did I understand rightly that they may not want to pick up the baton. Is that right? Or
Yeah,
One of them's a definite no.
yeah,
I
the
think
little
that's said for
one,
now.
absolutely not. If I mean, in his eyes, if computers didn't exist, he'd be quite happy.
okay.
He's so the
It's quite old
sporty.
school, isn't it?
He loves playing football. He
Mm.
would love to be a footballer, but even at the age of 11, he's quite realistic.
Yeah.
And he said, like he'd love to go into coaching or something like
Mm.
that. And
Mm.
he loves like the team feeling and everything. So he
Mm.
will go down a sports coaching or
Okay.
something route if he
Oh,
doesn't
nice.
become a football player. You never know.
Great.
But the older one,
Mm.
his like GCSEs are all
Mm.
media studies, computing,
Mm.
um,
Sound production,
sound, yeah, he
music.
loves, music tech. So he
Mm.
is much more in the creative tech space
Mm.
in his mind.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, like Chris said, he chose a video production company to do his work experience with.
Yeah. Mm.
So I think he's more likely to perhaps continue doing bits and bobs of like little
Mm.
bits of part-time work for us, like
Okay.
through end of school and into college
Mm.
and things. It looks good on his CV as well to have done a range of
Mm.
work experience. He also is a football referee. He does love the football side of things as well, but he doesn't
Mm.
necessarily. I think he's still on the fence, but I don't think he sees the sports route as a career so much. I do think he'll
Okay.
go into the creative world,
Mm.
but I think he's very much already a boy who would like to forge his own path.
Mm.
He is quite
Okay.
entrepreneurial in the way he thinks.
Mm.
Um, so I could see him running his own business, absolutely. But
Okay.
I don't think I could see him coming into our business of any kind of
Okay.
level,
No,
really.
Mm.
he needs to go off and do his own thing. I think
Sure.
that's his
Yeah.
journey that he's going to go on.
Sure.
So, but I think in terms of kind of what's happening with race day websites, I think
Mm.
we're still growing the business in terms of having new people in every month,
Mm.
but I think
Mm.
we're probably going to be moving more into well having consultancy as a sidearm. I think because we're seeing a lot of people that need well, some business advice, but there also some tech advice. And
Mm.
with the way that AI is coming up now, a
Sure.
lot of people are scared of it. But actually, if they
Mm.
utilized it in the right way and did it ethically, it would
Mm.
actually help them save time and money in their business. So I think
Mm.
there's an AI route that I might go down in terms of kind of helping people there and implementing it there.
Okay.
Um, and although Jude hates me keep saying about it, Jude's really good at networking and she's really good on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And I think Jude could quite happily go down a consultancy route where she was helping people become more visible
Mm.
online with those
Okay.
metrics as well, because the stuff that comes out of Jude as natural is
Mm.
completely
Sure.
unnatural to
Yeah.
me. So I think those kind
Yeah.
of things are what we're going to do. But the core business of Ready Say
Mm.
websites will probably stay the same for as long as people want websites that are built by humans. So I think
Okay.
who knows how long that'll last. It might be over by the end of this call, but
Okay.
yeah, hopefully. Well, we have actually seen a trend of people coming to us because we're not AI, so it's kind of weird.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not quite sure how it's going to work out, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Yeah, I still think kind of the Ready Steady website is in the way that it is now with
Yeah.
then people coming to us to create their own websites or helping us to create the
Mm.
websites. I
Mm.
think that's got another few years. I think it's if we're really
Mm.
a good few
Okay.
years away from AI being used in general by,
Mm.
like
Okay.
the people that we're working with at the moment to do their websites are
Mm.
people in construction, they're people in like the health tech
Mm.
space,
Mm.
they're people in wellness and
nutritionists,
things
yeah,
like that.
speakers, those
It's
kind of
gonna be a while before
Okay.
a
Mm.
classic construction business owner is going to sit down himself and go, yep, I'm just going to
Yeah.
create my own website using
Yeah.
Claude Code.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not happening at the moment. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we've got a good few years of operating
Sure.
Ready Steady websites in the way it is. But
Yeah.
yes, equally, like you said, we are
Mm.
always looking at like, but what is there
Yeah.
another offering that we could put in place
Gonna
that
say.
will diversify
Mm.
us a bit if that
Mm.
part of our business doesn't work anymore, but B
Okay.
is actually a natural into then like
Mm.
a lead generator really into creating
Yeah.
websites for people. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Yeah. It sounds very much like what, to me, it sounds like at the core of this whole conversation which is finding your strengths and really using them, and then being flexible
Yeah.
and kind of seeing what is going to come around the corner then, which sounds like it's been one of the key reasons why Ready Steady websites and yourselves as a couple have lasted so long and still so strong. It's like, let's see what happens, I guess, is the
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing too about your two boys. I hear one of them maybe not, even though how common as well with family businesses that the young ones go and explore, make a bunch of mistakes on somebody else's like dime, and then they come back all nice and shaped and bring it all to the
So
family.
funny if we did, wouldn't it? Like
Yeah.
we're going, yeah, who never will be, and yeah,
Okay.
maybe you never know. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, either
Okay.
that or we'll see him playing in the Premier League in a few years'
Okay.
time.
Sure.
More than a few years' time.
Well, you never know. They
You
start
never
young
know,
these days, don't
do
they?
you?
Sure. Sure.
I may
Perfect.
be aiming high for him there.
You got our aim high, haven't you?
Yeah. Probably the last question from me. I think I said that the last time, but this I think actually is going to be the last question. If you had one message to send to other people who are couples or family members who are in business together, what would that one message be to them?
I think it's got to be like if things aren't going well, then communication is key. I think that's really important. Like we do make sure that we are talking
Mm,
everything through. If we feel like something's not working, we talk about it. If we're concerned
mm,
about something, we talk about it.
mm,
Um, and also just having that sort of awareness of if the other one is struggling, like,
mm,
and because
mm.
I think I realize Chris is stressed sometimes before he does, and
Okay.
just kind of clocking that and
Mm,
again talking about it and everything, I
mm,
think is a really key thing for just making sure that
mm,
it's really working day to day and everyone's on the
mm,
same page.
mm,
Yeah, I think you need to give yourself time. I think a
mm.
lot of entrepreneurs want to make it big quickly and they're not
Yeah.
willing to put in the hard yards.
Yeah.
I think it's taken us about 7 years before we got to the
Mm,
point with Ready Say
mm,
websites that we're like, yeah, do you
mm,
know what? This is actually working now.
mm,
And I think if you're not willing to put in years of
mm,
effort and you're hoping
mm.
for a quick return,
Yeah.
then I think you're going to be upset. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are their own worst critic as well. So I think you're
Mm,
very quick to judge your own
mm,
metrics, and you don't give yourself enough time to
mm,
review what's going on. So I think yeah, time's a good sort of thing to sort of think about and give
mm,
yourself some opportunity to grow. I think that's one of the things. But yeah,
mm.
like you said, just talking to each other is
Yeah.
paramount as well. You need to be open with each other, no matter
Mm,
how silly it is, and don't sort of smother things or
mm.
keep things hidden because they will come
Sure.
out eventually. So
And
yeah,
I think the key in the communication is you need to talk to each other. But
Mm,
if you're the one who's being talked to, you need to
mm,
be
respond
receptive.
well.
Yeah,
Because, yeah, I think
mm.
it's hard to receive feedback sometimes,
Yeah.
or it's hard to hear somebody complaining that they're stressed when you're thinking, but I'm also
Yeah,
stressed.
me
But
too.
responding like that
Yeah.
probably isn't the best way. And yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. You know what two absolute key messages. And thank you so much, both of you, for sharing those. And Chris, I think even me a little bit. I thought, oh yeah, like I can when it comes to time. I think even for myself, I go, oh yeah, that's one important message to have it repeated, to hear again and again by new people. Yes.
yeah. There's
Thank you
always
so
time.
much.
There's always time, isn't there? There's always time. You can make mistakes. There's
Mm,
always time to correct them. So
Um,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, you really open up Ready Steady websites as well as your family. So thank you so much for being so open and sharing. It's been lovely to have you on the podcast.
thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.